Good evening. It is October 13th. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm sorry this is coming out so late. It's been a busy day. And I'm sorry you hear the dog barking in the background who is begging to go for a walk. She doesn't know when to be quiet. But we have a lot to get into, so I'm going to leap in here. By now, all of you are a Twitter because there was two CMEs, and are they going to hit us or are they not? Well, yeah, the answer to that is I think so. So let me put this on pause. And I'm going to run this backwards because I want you to look at a region right here. So right here, you can see we have a vertical loop. Underneath that, there is a horizontal loop. And it really isn't the vertical loop that exploded and let go. It was the vertical loop or the horizontal loop. So as I roll through that, I want you to follow what happens right down this way. So this moves up. Here it goes. It's lifting up, 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 up. And now, and you can kind of see it come all the way down this line. You can see a very defined line that developed and it all lifted up. Starting in the center, but right down to the ends where it kind of flicks out. This more than likely will give us a graze, and that's where the NOAA forecast is getting their prediction that it's going to hit us, is because this it erupted in two ways. So rather than it being like a Hollywood spotlight going straight up and just in this isolated region, this is going to be more like an earthquake fault zone that explodes. It's going to zipper. So it doesn't affect a small isolated region. It's going to affect a large region. And as this lifts off, it's going to be moving in a lot of different directions. And for newbies, I want you to visualize everything coming off the sun at trillions and trillions and trillions of ping pong balls. And every one of these ping pong balls are moving in different directions at different speeds. Some of it's going really fast, some of it's going really slow, some of it's barely moving at all. It is gonna, and picture everything between the sun and earth covered in these ping pong balls that are moving in every direction. And that will help you begin to visualize how these particles are moving. Now we are going to get into different scenarios. We'll jump into that in a minute. We have a region down here that is a tight knot that is deeply anchored in the sun, right in the middle of these filament. This filament keeps trying to lift off, but this center knot is holding it in place. And I think this is either going to develop into a coronal hole or it's going to develop into a sunspot group. And that will happen probably next cycle. This region right here, you can see the filament lines reaching. We've got a really magnetic active region right here. And these filament lines are anchored in 50 and 48 sunspots and the coronal hole. And so, and whatever's back there on the back side. So they're all kind of put together. So we're going to get a lot of active stuff coming at us. Looking at this, you can see our coronal hole stream. Here you can see those lines reaching back into that active region. You can see this knot right here that's holding and anchoring this filament line. If this lifts off, I think this end of it will be the first to lift off and whip out. And it will have more of a forward motion. So depending on if it does let go, where that anchor is at is the direction it's going to move toward. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's jump over here to our solar flares. Last evening, here is our C-class flares that were indicative right at just before midnight. That were the two, this whole set in here is the flares that came out from the outgoing region and the two incoming CMEs. And then you could see things really get busy between high C-class and M-class flares that has almost been percolating like a pot all day long. And that is because these sunspots have rapidly developed. They're kind of holding stable right now. So let's look at that. Let's look at our sunspot regions. We have 46 and 48. These are our two primary sunspots, and they were a beta gamma. So they were a moderate thunderstorm yesterday. Overnight, they organized into beta gamma delta, which is akin to going from, oh gee, I'm a little thunderstorm, to I'm a supercell. And I'm going to do major damage. Now they are capable of ripping off with the really big storms and the really big flares and the things that can actually give us a super good storm. The rest of these are beta gammas, or beta. We have mostly alphas, 47 going out, and 50 are our beta class storms. These are our thunderstorms. They can produce something. They're a minor pocket thunderstorm, not very big. They are capable of producing something huge, but not necessarily going to do it. Excuse me, my allergies are just going crazy this week. So let's look at this one. You can see here in 46 how tightly woven the different polarities are within the sunspot grouping. So there's 27 spots, tightly woven, and this one is very, very capable and likely the one that did most of the M-class flaring today because it is just super busy. You can see it's not losing size and it's not losing the number of spots. I expect this to hit a quiet period where it kind of calms down, and it may reorganize farther and get bigger or add more spots. And we want to watch for those fluctuations. In contrast, 48 is also beta gamma delta, in other words, a supercell. To give you a gauge of, we have a pocket thunderstorm, supercell. Of the two of them, 46 is more eruptive because there's more interaction between the two polarities, the positive and the negative. And that is where you want to look at this. And the positive is leading on 46 or 48, but I would almost guess that 46 is going to be more negative. So we'll see. We'll see. Looking at our CMEs, the important thing I'm going to give you right here is I want you to look at the median wind speeds. It can go up to 865, but the average between the high and the low is going to be about 558. Down here, where we have this, we have the start of our really big explosion, which this is the one that zippers and could hit us. You'll notice it is moving really, really slowly. It may be dense, but it's not moving fast. It's got two smaller solar storms traveling behind it that are going to give us pretty much a full halo for the most part. But they're not fast. They may be dense, but they're not fast. Compares to our last two solar storms, this one pushing from this direction, which isn't going to help the stuff over here, but it might help the stuff over here move faster. And we have the spot right here that isn't really going to do much for us. So I don't look for this to be huge. But the setup here that I want to draw your attention to is when you have slow storms followed by fast storms, that's when you start looking for that snow shovel, where the fast storm picks up the smaller storm and puts it on the front of the snow shovel, and it builds in density, and we get a bigger forecast. It hits bigger than what we expect it to, and this setup has the potential of doing that depending on what comes in the next 24 hours. And how fast what is taking off from the sun moves toward us. Looking forward, here is the sunspot group that is cresting around the sun right now. And will be probably Earth facing in the next day and have a number. Behind that, we have 4 other sunspots that are well developed. You can see down here, they're very deep, they're very complex, and they are going to be what hits around the 28th to the 31st, which would have hit at the first of the month. So the big storms we had right at the end of September are coming back around. They're going to hit the 28th through the 31st. You can see all these complex regions here that are on the face of the sun. That is going to hit us somewhere close to the 10th of November. So you have about 4 or 5 days between when that hits and when this hits. So you do have a gauge at what's coming if you're going to plan on taking any vacations or whatnot. You want to watch these areas, look back and see what happened, which days had the big storms and which sunspots, and then see what they look like when they come back around. Looking at the space weather forecast, not going to get much tonight, but that's okay. We are all clouded out for the most part. We're going to be fairly cloudy into the 15th, I think. But then on the 16th, we do have the start of these substorms from all these M-class flares starting. And we will look at our forecast with that. Based on our emerald spiral here, we can see that this is going to start midday on the 16th, peaking right about midnight on the 7th with the plasma on the 17th, going into the early morning hours. And at the same time, that's when the winds start picking up from the solar winds. So we have plasma and we have winds. And because this is so rapidly increasing, I do expect there to be some scoop shovels or snow shovel eventing here. So I would say look at what they're going to predict and expect maybe a little higher and be prepared for higher and bigger storms. Oh, and I closed my map here. So, sky cover tonight. We are going to have a band of clouds that drops down through Michigan through the overnight hours into Minnesota and western Wisconsin tonight into tomorrow. Tuesday night, if you're in lower Michigan, you're probably going to have a pretty good chance until 2 a.m. And that cloud system and that storm system that's out west is going to be moving in. Wednesday night, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, you're going to be pretty golden. Maybe Washington and Oregon as we start getting these better storms. And let's see if we can pull a Thursday. And I don't think we're going to, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Thursday, lower Michigan, you're going to have a good shot. Most of Minnesota, Wisconsin is going to be out of the realm of possibility. And as we go into the early morning hours on the 17th, we're not going to get much. So if you're going to hunt and you're in Michigan on the 17th, you're going to want to stay to the south. So Little Sable, Grand Haven, maybe Little South Haven, the shorelines over there, the thumb of Michigan, maybe Ludington, maybe Manistee, but you're going to have a better shot at getting stuff on into Alpena and the lighthouses along Alpena and the dark sky parks on the eastern side of the state on the 17th. So those are the areas. Don't run for the UP because it's going to be clouded out. And Becca's going to be sitting there gnashing her teeth with her broken foot going, oh, well, I can't go out anyway. Love you, Becca. We all do. For those of you who don't know, Becca is one of my assistants that is always there helping out. And she broke her foot. So we need to keep her in our prayers and wish her well in our groups and fast healing. She's a little bored, folks, so keep her busy with questions. So that is what we've got going on. Taking a quick glance toward our 10-day forecast. This is for Traverse City in northern Michigan. But it's going to be kind of, we're moving across in pockets right now. Starting the 18th, we're going to start moving into our fall weather pattern where it's pocket rainstorms, cloudy weather, and rainbows. Remember the magic number, 45. Be out there looking. If you have moist, rainy weather, when the sun's at a 45-degree angle, you'll see rainbows. This is what we have coming at us for the next 10 days. Because this is October, know that these thunderstorms are pocket storms. Sometimes there's breaks in this cloud cover. Sometimes it's not going to be as thick as you think it will be. And there'll be breaks in between the thunderstorms. And so look at your radar. I have had nights where it's raining cats and dogs on East Traverse Bay. And 3 miles to the west, I had holes in the clouds where I could see auroras on West Bay. So you just have to get really nitpicky in the fall. Because it can be done to get in the holes of the clouds to see things. So that's where we're at. Everybody have a good hunting for the rest of the month. For those wondering what's going on with me and why I've been so quiet, just a quick update. They have found an answer to the problem with my hip. I will be undergoing surgery on the November 3rd. They are going to go in and clip a tendon that's dragging across the top of the hip implant and sever that tendon so that it quits constantly being irritated. Hopefully that's going to solve at least 50 to 80% of the problem. There's hope. And I may never get back to fully what I was, but at least there's hope to get some of it back. So I may be very busy this month, very busy into November, and then things will calm down and I will be more here. Please check out our shop at North American Art Products, so that you are doing some shopping to help keep some of this going and help my ability to keep some of this going. And I will leave it there. If anybody has any questions, reach out, let me know. If you need to do Christmas shopping and you're wanting to learn about cameras, wanting to know what to get, please reach out to me through Messenger and ask. Have your families ask. Tell them where to find me, and I will help them make sure that you get something quality that fits your needs. So I'm going to leave it there. Everybody have fun. And make sure you're posting your pictures and sharing them, and share your stories. I mean, sometimes there's some really good stories in how you got these pictures, and we want to hear those too. All right. Night, everybody.